up, Ham Radio? Kilo Echo 8 Papa Zulu November, the Ham Radio Adventure Guy. Thanks for stopping by. Your one stop for everything Adventure Radio. It is Hump Day. That means it's time for the Hump Day Happy Hour. Happy Hump Day, everybody. Got a great crew here tonight. We'll introduce everybody in just a second, but before we do, we're going to say a big shout out to all these guys right here, the Patreons, because they are absolutely awesome and they help keep me on the road for the most part. Right now, I'm kind of limited because the tires are starting to get bald, but we're still roaming around for sure. And also, we want to give a shout out to the Adventure Club, and thanks to Bruce India Charlie Papa for a big donation right before the stream as well. I noticed Bruce was in the chat there. And speaking of Patreons, I got a couple of them on here that's going to talk about Field Day with me tonight. I thought it'd be cool to bring a couple Patreons that you guys haven't seen on the stream before, and reached out to these guys, and they generously came on to talk a little Field Day with us, and a little, of course, a little POTA, because that's what we do all the time. But before we get on to Field Day, I'm going to give them a chance to tell you who they are and what they like to do in ham radio and stuff. We'll start with you, John, since you're right beside me here.
Hey, K3STL, John, tall guy, from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I like to chase DX. I was a big DX chaser, and then through the likes of Brian, K3ES, he got me addicted to POTA, and now all I do is play with POTA, and that's pretty much all I do anymore with ham radio, portable ops and activating and hunting.
And if you don't know John and you're an activator, you probably do, because John is Mr. POTA on. Now you know who I'm talking about, don't you? All right, and right underneath me here, we got Chris, AE4XO. Chris, give us a little intro.
Hey, AE4XO from Warner Robins, Georgia, here in the middle of Georgia. And I do a lot of with digital packet, APRS, that sort of thing. And then there's a little thing called POTA that I do sometimes. And so that's about it. We have a great club here in town, and I'll be glad to talk about it.
Awesome. POTA, huh? That sounds interesting. I might have to check that out sometime. Yeah, I'll tell you guys, I'm tired of just everything right now. I'm really trying hard to get the 60 hours in for the Lewis and Clark by myself, even though it's a club activation. So far, I've got it all by myself. I'm about 40 hours into the 60, but keeping up with that 40 hours and then my activation for myself, let me tell you, it gets tiring. I was telling you guys before the stream, I got up at like 4 o'clock this morning and left so I could do a activation with Whiskey 8 Lima Oscar Golf for the Lewis and Clark. And then I switched over. I did that on FT8. That way I could switch over and do sideband and CW for myself. So it was a long morning, but then I went to work and I forgot all about everything besides, God, I hate going to work. Anyway, we're going to talk about Field Day, and I brought a couple of new people on. Both of these guys are in clubs. Of course, I'm in a club, and I'm going to be doing Field Day with actually my club and another club. And when it's my turn, we'll talk about that in a second. But I wanted to see what these guys were doing, and I guess we'll start with you, John, since we started with you to start with. You're actually in your club shack right now, aren't you?
That is correct. I'm at Skyview Radio Society right now, Kilo 3, Mike Juliet Whiskey. This club was founded in 1960 by about 10 people that broke off from another radio club nearby, and they went in and found this piece of land, and I think they paid $300 for it back then. And here we are today. Our secondary call is Whiskey 3 Golf Hotel now, and that was our last surviving founding member who passed away a couple years ago. The Green Hornet, if you ever heard of the Green Hornet in contesting, that was him. And I don't know, we have pretty interesting Field Day here. We were really into contesting at one time, and that's going back 15 or so years. And on Field Day, we had the contesting attitude. We were trying to go out and get a lot of cues. But there were some people in the club that didn't want to go that route. They wanted to go out and just have it relaxed, go hang out in that. So another member of the club, Dave N3TIN, he lives on a farm. He set up a secondary field day there, and we actually run 2 field days. We have one here at the club, which is more contesting. We run 4 Echo or 3 Echo, which is emergency power. And then Dave's, I believe they run Alpha, a lot of battery power there, if I remember right.
Okay. So, so what about the other team? What do they run?
They run battery power, I believe, over there. If not, they run regular. I think they're Alpha the way they were running. They're like 6 or 7 Alpha, depending on who shows up. And they just set up little stations there. They have these little wood stations they set up, and they just throw up some quick antennas. We still use our antennas here at the club. We have in the radio room here. We'll still have a couple CW ops. I keep saying activators, and we have a pavilion outside where we put sideband in. And I got some pictures I can show you later. Just
okay, excellent. 6 or 7 Alpha. How many people do they have that's showing up that they're running? Because I mean, I know we have way more people than what we run because we try to run in stations. Because most normal radio people don't want to go 24 hours. It's a little different for me. I'm used to support your parks weekends and stuff where I'll go for 48 sometimes. But we try to break it up into shifts. And how many people do they have show up to run a 6 or 7 Alpha?
Well, our club has close to 160 members. So, we got, and everyone here is diverse. It's a very diverse club. There's an expert in something here. But I don't know, they get 14 people show up, something like that. And they just have fun and take their time. They're not in no rush. And, a lot of CW ops there, and they paper log. Here at Skyview, we have all the computers networked, even the ones out in the pavilion, and, everything's done that way. But they do a lot of paper log in there, and they just keep it old school.
I'm going to say yuck to the paper log, and I don't want no part of that. I paper logged my very first POTA because I was scared I couldn't type fast enough. And, it was my first one, so it wasn't the pileups that I'm used to now, of course. I think I had 27 or 28 contacts. But just putting those 27 or 28 contacts in when I got home that night, I was like, no, never again. Never again. I will do this in the field and be done with it. Because, if you're using the software and you put it in the field, pretty much you got to put the name and the park number if it's a park to park, because everything will autofill. But if you're putting it in later, you got to go back and change times, maybe the date if it hit past the, UTC and everything. So you're doing a lot more work. And I know there's still a lot of people that does it. Actually, Kilo Bravo 3, Whiskey Alpha Victor, my big sis, I call her. She actually paper logs her POTA activations, and I tell her all the time, I'm like, I don't know how. And she says I can write faster than I can type. I was like, if I could, I probably could write faster than I can type. But the thing was, I write like a doctor, and deciphering that when I get back is a different story. All right, so we'll definitely come back to your pictures. Let's talk to Chris here. Chris, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, we've been in the same place for about 25 years. It's behind a church here in town. They have a nice pavilion, concreted floor, fans, lights, power, restrooms right down the hill. So it's been a really, really great place for field day for that long. The first field day we had at the location, we actually had to bring in our own mowers and cut the grass because this is where the new church was going to be built. And so we had to, put that in a circle, and we had campers in that first field day with the portable tower and everything. But over the years, we average probably about 70 to 80 people that come in over the weekend. We always have a meal on Saturday night for everybody. And then, a lot of people come in for that. And then some of them stick around to operate through the night. But usually we're operating, we try to get a 5 Alpha most of the time. It's kind of hard on 80 meters during the day to have a transmitter going on 80 meters all day, but we get 5 Alpha most of the time, and we average right in the middle of the category. usually over 1,000 contacts. We use N3FJP. We've been using that software since like 2007 because of the networking capability of it, and that's why I use it for POTA, because I am so used to that the features and everything. And so it's real good for networking. All the computers together. Um, Last year was the first time we had a dedicated satellite station, and that got a lot of interest. So we'll have that again, and then again the supper as well. So it's two clubs in town. We had a split, like John was mentioning. We had a split in 1994, I believe it was, and so that created both clubs. So we had separate field days for several years, but since the members have um, been dying off and everything, we decided many years ago, probably over 10 years ago, to combine efforts and have a combined field day. So they pay for part of the food and stuff, and we pay for part of the food, and that's real nice to do it that way. And like I said, we usually end up with over 1,000 contacts for the weekend, and so it's a real good event. We've had ARRL section managers, we've had police chief, fire chief, come and visit, give us those points, and so county commissioners came by a few times over the years, and so it's been really good. We're really looking forward to it again. It just so dang hot on some of them. Some of the field days, we have meltdowns because it's 100 degrees, and then in winter field day it's 20 degrees. So
Hmm.
we don't have a happy medium, I guess. But we like the event, and it's good. We just had a guy today finish up remaking all of our dipole antennas, so we'll be ready for next week.
Nice. And I'll go ahead and ask for both of you guys this question. So, do you guys use bandpass filters, or do you use a duplexer, triplexer? What do you guys use for
We use bandpass filters here at Skyview.
that? Okay.
For us, we don't use bandpass filters, but we do make the antennas usually 90 degrees to each other. So we'll have one going this way and one going that way, and we really don't have that much interference. For winter field day, we had four CW operators operating on different bands, and they didn't seem to be bothered by each other. So it's not too terrible the way we can spread out, because the way the trees are. We have a very large area that we can spread the antennas out, and typically, we don't have any interference troubles.
Right. So that's pretty interesting because normally, especially running that many, somebody's going to interfere with somebody. So that's kind of interesting. How big of an area is it we're talking?
Well, we can only go 1,500 feet, so
Right.
we try to. I don't know how big it is, how big, like, size wise, but I mean, it's the pavilion is it's got those big fans, those big A fans. It's got
Hmm.
6 of those. It's big enough for 6 of those. So we have one station on one end, and then another station usually way down on the other end. So it's a pretty big space that we have for field day. And
Okay.
sometimes, like, we'll do like the Wyndham over the lake with with the coax floating in the water with pool noodles, to keep it away from the other people, that sort of thing. Trying to be inventive on separating as big as we can.
Right. I mean, now we run multiple stations like that too. I was just curious because some of our guys. So we actually do summer field day with another club, like both of you get, well, like you do, and yours is sort of the same club. But so for winter field day, we do it by ourselves, just Logan County Amateur Radio Club. But for summer, we typically go with the Boone County Club and activate with them. We've done that for several years now, and some of them guys run bandpass filters. And Tristan, actually, the guy who owns Eagle One, he's got like a big triplexer, and we can run 3 different bands off one antenna off that thing. without any kind of interference. So that helps too. Um, we run. I forget what we run. We don't run battery power. We run generators. So I forget what the category is we run, but we run generators. And I've noticed some people generators cause no interference,
Yep.
and some of them you want to stay as far away from as you can.
Yep.
Because
I wonder if that would be the inverter generators. I've heard the inverter generators cause all kinds of noise.
I don't know. So a lot of the Boone County guys, they've all gotten huge campers that they bring out there, and the Logan County guys, we're more of the night owl shift. The Boone County guys, they're hard at it during the day, but during the evening is when we sort of take over and do our thing mostly. I mean, we'll run during the day during our shifts, but they're all in bed pretty early, and we don't do that bed thing. So we tend to stay up late. So some of the people will set up a tent in case they want to take a cat nap or something. I typically, if it's not my shift and I want to just take a cat nap, I'll just jump into the vehicle and just take me a little cat nap for 30, 45 minutes while it's not my turn or something. But yeah, they run. There's one guy. He's got a really nice motorhome. I'm like, dude, this thing's a house. But we run the M3 FJP just like you guys do, and we run it all linked up together like that, and that makes it really convenient, because you're going to see if it's a dupe. Even that this guy over here has worked, and it works out really well that way. And that again is what I use for POTA because I am used to it. But I've ran that for POTA from the get go anyway. Other than that first activation, after that first activation, I got it and said that was it. We operate out of a youth soccer field close to a local water park, and it's a really nice area. One of the guys from the Boone County Club brings us Starlink down there, so we got good internet the whole time we're there for networking and or everything else that we would need. So it seems really good. So you said a big dinner on Saturday night, and John mentioned earlier something about brisket. So let's talk about this thing that's near and dear to my heart. This food thing.
Food.
How many people did you say you had coming, Chris? Normally,
we usually it used to be 60 to 70. The whole, everybody and their brother and their sister would come out. The whole family always is invited. We would see the kids. Like my daughter was born in 2002, and she grew up coming there, and when she went to college and graduation, they're like, hey, your daughter's graduating this year, all right, because we've been there so long. We've seen so many people going coming over the years. And so, one thing that I do, I always try to videotape as much as I can of the videotape, but you know what I mean. Video as much as I can of the event. I try to make a YouTube video of our activation and setting up and everything, because next year half the people aren't going to be there, or maybe not half, but 3 or 4 guys aren't going to be there next year because of different reasons. And so over the years, I've been able to capture them as they were before they passed on, or left the area, that sort of thing. And you were talking about generators earlier. We used to have the Air Force help and bring their 20 kW generator for 5 HF transmitters, and a little overkill, but they were able to practice setting up their generator and their with their big trucks and stuff, and that was pretty cool that we would get support from the Air Force like that. But those days are long gone now with budgets and all that. So We got just the normal 5 kW generators now running. So, but yeah, 70 people usually we'd have on that dinner time.
So how many cooks do you have for 70 people?
Well, what we would do is we'd just get some chicken and from Kroger or whatever, like 50 pieces or 90 pieces, whatever, depending on how many we expected, and then everybody else brings their favorite dish in. And so that way we didn't have to cook, we didn't cook on site. There was times we did hamburgers, hot dogs, and that sort of thing when we had a lot of people that were hanging around, but now with the 10 or 11 of us that go through the whole event from beginning to end, we don't have the resources to do that anymore. So we just go to get some chicken and everybody brings in their potluck and it works out real well.
Okay. And we'll move up to Chris in just a second because Bruce has an excellent question. I was going to mention it later, but so do you guys want to go to station, Chris?
We do. We usually have our club call, and then we pick one person that has usually it's a go box, go box that we can set up and leave there for the go to. Yeah.
Okay. What about you guys, John?
We weren't as successful with that, so we just get when people come up and we get visitors, we have them just sit in a chair and give it a shot. And it all depends on who's there. Some people they want to give it a shot; they're waiting in line. Other times you get 4 or 5 people just standing around going, "Oh no, I'm just here to see." I don't want to
watch. Yeah.
I don't want to touch anything, but it's how it is. But we do not have a dedicated go to station. We just operate and just let people get in, and we put them in the list.
And ours is sort of the same way. Because like I said, we're not a big club like neither one of yours. I'm from a small area, so our club's pretty small, and the Boone County club's pretty small. But we have probably 3 or 4 extra stations set up than what we're running. So anytime, we're always trying to get the GOTAs in there for sure. And I can't remember a year that we've not got GOTA points. That's my favorite part is to get the new people in there. And a matter of fact, a few of those people that I can remember making their contacts at previous field days are now members of my club and have their license. So that's really excellent.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We actually have this one lady, and she came and she literally worked 6 meters all night long, like all night long, just about. And it was just booming that night. I don't know how that magic was happening, but I mean, she made, I don't know, 60 or 70, contacts, and she's just stepping on the radio, and now she's a member of our club and has her own license. And I'm actually going to say she's Kilo Echo 8 unicorn kissing ostrich. That is her call sign. She said, "How am I going to remember this call sign?" And that's why I said, "You're Kilo Echo 8 uniform kissing ostrich." But yeah, she started from a GOTA station, and we've had several that's done that, and that's one of my favorite parts.
They updated the rules for GOTA this year to make it a little more valuable for points wise. So that'll be good.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. That says new for 2023. There is no limit to the number of contacts made by the GOTA station. All GOTA stations are worth 5 points regardless of mode.
Nice. So now back to the food here, John. You mentioned something about brisket. What you guys got going on?
Yeah, I make some brisket. Hey, by the way, these are the bandpass filters we use there at Skyview. Just so them little array solutions. I don't know if you're familiar, but that's what we use. And then the DX Engineering inside. I don't know if you can see them automatic bandpass filters. Yeah, I bought a smoker some time ago, and we brought it up, and we smoked just about everything. I smoked chickens, we've done hams, several briskets, chuck roasts, and it just goes so fast. We started out with 1 brisket and it went real fast, and then next year I said, let's do 2 to Bob, our radio officer, Whiskey Charlie 3 Oscar. He says, yeah, we got some money in the budget, get a second brisket. They just go.
So Brian says the highlights for you guys is the tall guy brisket and the Q3 Fox Alpha Zulu hot sausage.
Yeah. Stephen K3FAZ. He buys his hot sausage from a local guy. He makes it a butcher, and then he spices it up with his recipes, and that it goes just as fast. It's amazing, and some people go back for seconds.
So
Grease is
if
tough.
if anybody would like to a really cool adventure with the Ham Radio Adventure Guy and would like to come down in a helicopter on the Boone County field and pick me up and shoot me up to Pittsburgh really quick for some brisket and sausage, I'm just saying it would be a
You won't
great
go back.
experience.
Yeah, you won't want to go back. I'll tell you that. It's really good.
Yeah,
oh,
we.
Lord. Dan wants to know if you smoke Reese cups.
Oh no.
Yeah, I love some brisket, and I'll tell you, Eddie. I don't know if he's in the chat or not, but he probably is. Eddie, we had a Patreon meetup down in Owino, down in Florida, and Eddie cooked brisket the whole night before, and he brought that stuff out. And I'm going to tell you, if you can compete with Eddie, tall guy, it's on.
Yeah. But my brisket, a serving, it's kind of like a Reese's cup because you can't eat just one.
Oh.
Well, between me and Dan and Eddie, we ate 7 pounds of brisket at Owino.
Oh wow!
So it was pretty good. I'm willing to put out a challenge. We could all meet up somewhere and do a POTA brisket off, and and the king would gladly judge that competition.
I'll have to bring mine to Huntsville then.
John, are you coming to Huntsville?
I think Jim's talked me into it. I think I'm going to be going down.
Dan
was twisting
brisket
my arm.
challenge.
We could have the POTA King brisket challenge at Huntsville.
Yeah, for field day, I've smoked some ribs out there, and we did a tri-tip on the like the kettle grill one time, and then hamburgers and hot dogs, but nothing like you guys, man. We need to step up our game, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Ours we don't. I want a dedicated club cook. I want one so bad, and I never get it. We everybody brings food, and we sort of just share food around. Somebody will cook this, and somebody will cook that. But there's never we're getting brisket coming, or I know a couple of years ago there was a guy, he made pork chops, and yeah, you'll still have to cook so much, Eddie. Don't even go there. But he made some pork chops that morning, and he had a couple left, and there's a couple off that. He's like, I got a couple pork chops left, and I was like, yeah, they're mine. And this other guy's like, I'll wrestle you for him. And everybody just stood back and said, okay, wrestle James for pork chop. I dare you.
Well, for Sunday morning, we do have breakfast. We have a guy that brings his camp kitchen and massive, camp kitchen, and everybody gets breakfast. My wife and I went to Kroger at 4 a.m. one morning to get all the stuff for it, And but that was Sunday morning. Saturday night is the regular dinner, but Sunday morning, yeah, we have a homemade breakfast. So it's real nice too.
Okay. All right. So here's my next question. Okay, you've always got extra people there because you're running, 7 or 8, and you got all these other people, and we're running 3 or 4, and we've got extra people. What's the socializing like at your all's field day?
At mine or John?
We'll start with John.
All right, me first again. Well, one thing about Tall Guy, I like campfires, so I always have a campfire going during field day. A lot of chairs around there, people standing around talking there. We do have a dedicated meeting room here. People are in there talking. Sometimes they're tinkering with stuff. Someone will have a little project they're working on during field day, and they'll be in there doing that. And we got a gigantic whiteboard, and people are drawing and all that stuff. For some reason, as small as the radio room is, it fills up with people. I don't get it. You got that big meeting room out there, but everyone's in the radio room all crammed in there. But it's very social here, extremely social. Everyone's talking.
Right.
About everything.
What about you, Chris?
Well, for us, we leave when we put out the tables and chairs for dinner, we leave those out, and there people are always like on one end of the pavilion. where the stations are on the other end. So if you're talking, it doesn't interfere with anybody, and vice versa. And yeah, there's people in and out all weekend. We see some people. They may have mobility issues or something, and they come in and stay in the chairs and that sort of thing. And that's what's nice about the concrete floor. We can have wheelchairs out there. It's not a problem, that sort of thing, rather than just being in the middle of the woods somewhere, with the mud and everything. But yeah, it's a very big social event. Sometimes we don't see these people except for field day, and it's funny. You hear during the year all these the ham operators that are very, very active all year long, and you expect them to be on the radio all the time, but they come in, they set up, they sit down, and they talk to other people not on the radio. There are maybe our technical experts. Some of them even set up the antennas or built the antennas, and they don't talk on the radio. They just talk to other people, and so it's really kind of funny that we're like, yeah, it's good to see you. Are you going to get on the radio? They're like, man, maybe, probably not. It's like, well, you're this. We depend on you for these technical meetings that we have. Every month we try to have a good program, and they do all these programs and stuff, and then they're like, not on field day. They don't talk. They just come and set up and eat, and then they just are on that end in the talking area. So it's kind of funny how people are sometimes with whether or not they want to get on the radio. But it is field day is a good time to bring your equipment out to make sure it's working. We've had several people bring out their portable antenna setups and see how to set those up and why it's not working, that sort of thing. And we always have the soldering gun out there, and because I don't personally own a soldering gun, so it's nice that if I had something that needs to be done, I could do it at field day. So that's good.
Right. And we're the same way. We've always got our stations going, but there's a whole lot of socializing going along. And it's funny that you mentioned that. All the active guys that are all year. They come to field day and don't do as much. And I'm sort of the same way, because I'm probably the most active person around. I'm out there every single day for hours upon hours upon hours. And when I go to like a ham fest or field day, I consider it like vacation. And it's people when I go to Hamfest, I'm there for like 3 days, and people's like, "You've only been on the spotting page 2 times today." I'm like, "I'm on vacation. I'm still on there 2 times. How many times? How many times do you get on in a week? Once." but and I'm the same way until they'll come and say, "Okay, we need to run some pile ups really quick. Come over here and run the pile ups," or they'll be like, "So and so has been trying to break through to this station forever. We need this station," and I'll go over there and I'll break through it real quick. Or my favorite, if so and so that's trying to break through the station happens to be running a NICOM, I always will take my Yaesu over there, set it down beside him. I say, "Here, watch this," and I'll pull the antenna out of the back of it and put it in my Yaesu and break through first time. I'm like, "There's your problem." And then I walk off. They get so mad at me when I do that. All right, Bruce says, "Do you set up a full schedule or just who wants to operate?" All right, we'll start with you, Chris. What do you guys do?
Yeah, so we tried it last year. We used it's not SurveyMonkey. It's I forgot the name of it, but it's a website you can do free, and you do scheduling. And so that we did, we tried to do it where everybody was in 2-hour time slots, and that kind of helped because we had some digital operators come in and they wanted to get on the 20 meters, but we only had two one CW and one voice, and they couldn't get on 20 meters and that sort of thing. So it was kind of a conflict, but yeah, we did a schedule this year. We're not expecting to have that many participants because there's actually several of the normal, let's say normal, heavy operators. They're going to be on. They're going to be gone, and so we don't expect to have that many conflicting this year. And so, but yeah, normally we would do a schedule of like 2-hour time blocks.
Okay. What about you, John?
Back in the earlier day, we had schedules because we were strategy here at K3MJW. Everyone so much time in a chair, things like that. The other station that uses W3GH, they were always laid back. Now, I'd say within the past 5 or so years, culture here has changed. We're kind of more like, all right, operate for a little while, and then I need someone to fill in for me. I'm feeling a little tired. Anyone want to work? Someone will jump in there because there's always someone here. But it's not really set anymore. Where before it was, now it's kind of whoever's here and wants to operate. If I'm a little tired, headphones are hurting, and someone else will come in and go, all right, I'll jump in. I haven't operated yet, and then it goes that way. Because we're not. I mean, we still do really good, but we're not as competitive as we were before. It's more.
And typically that's sort of how we are. We're sort of laid back. During the day, one of the guys from Boone County, he stays. He's the FT8 guy, and he wants to run the digital, and he'll stay on it all the time. And then however many stations we're running, we'll break up into different bands and stuff like that. During the evening, it gets more of a scheduled output thing because there's less of us running in the evening than during the day. I typically do most of mine during the evening because that's what I'm used to anyway. So I do a lot of 80 meters during the evening. That's typically where I excel, and I also do a lot of We all know that I do POTA a lot, so a lot of people look to me, and I'll be getting text the whole field day, be like, "Hey, we need West Virginia CW, or we need West Virginia this, or something like that," and I'll try to help other people out and stuff like that. Matter of fact, last winter field day, when I was brand new at CW, the Pearsons text me. And if you've ever heard the Pearsons do CW, it's like they've been doing it for 40 years, and they're teenagers. They're just machines. And matter of fact, our club made a big presentation to them after Winterfield Day because of how they just sat down at the big guys table. They sat and just destroyed some CW. And they sent me a text and said, "Hey, we really need West Virginia CW." And I was like, "Oh, brother." So here I get on there, and I put my headphones in, and for like 10 minutes solid, I'm listening to them call at they're probably 32, 33 words a minute, and I'm like, what in the world? So I finally got all their information after about 10 minutes. I had it all typed out in my computer, and I was ready to go. So I caught my break, and I threw out the call really quick. And they did. They slowed right down for me, and I got the contact. But it was funny because after I got that contact, I pulled the headphones out of the radio and sat down. And some of the other people was like, "How did you just work that station?" Because it was just like just speed stationing. And but I kind of look forward to this year. I'm going to do a lot more CW, I think, because I have been practicing a lot more. Not that I'm good or anything, because I'm not. But as compared to Winterfield Day last year, I'm a world of difference. So.
Yeah, we have a dedicated CW guy that he actually did more than our voice people did last year, and so he's every time he goes to POTA, that's all he does is CW.
See, I've really fell in love with CW. I have, and I do it quite a bit. But as far as me sitting down for a full field day and doing dedicated CW, I would be taking my head and just smacking it off the table, because it's quite funny, because John was talking about it before the stream. He's like, "I appreciate you pulling me out of your CW problems, because it's just stupid sometimes," and it is, man. I'll spot, and Steven says it best from Indiana. He's like, he'll send me a message like, "Dude, are you doing CW or FT8? It sounds like FT8 going on now," because it's just like 40 people calling at once. And I'm like, "Guys, I plainly put in a spot, new CW, 16 words a minute. that would probably mean spread it out a little bit here. But the smart people have figured out how to work BCW. They'll let them 40 people go, and then right at the very end of that pileup, they'll start sending their call, and their last 3 letters will come out, and you wouldn't believe, just like John was talking about me pulling him out. A lot of the times when I pull John out is just because all I heard was Sierra Tango Lima, and I could be calling the wrong call sign back. But typically, if I call back Kilo 3 Sierra Tango Lima, it happens every time. He's going to call me right back. And I always know it's him because 99% of the time he'll put POTA on.
Right on, POTA on.
So, that's a cool thing. But yeah, there's a lot of people that with CW, I'll just get but that's not something I can do at field day because I don't know all those calls. So it'll be a different world for me for sure. So all right, we'll start with John. Does your club do anything beforehand to prepare themselves for winter field day or summer field day? I mean,
we do for winter field day also. Actually, first we do, but we've been doing it for so long now that it's pretty much, it's kind of like Christmas time. You get the tree out and the ornaments, you put them on, you kind of know what you're going to do. Everything's pretty much there. You know what I mean? They're more worried about where they're going for breakfast, beforehand. And, we just get everything out, everything's there. We know what we got to do, set up the networks. And there isn't, it isn't like it used to be. It's just pretty much, plug and play now. We're pretty good at it, and, I don't know. It just goes pretty good. I think the most is getting the computers network. Once we're in there, we're good to go.
What about you guys, Chris?
Well, like I said, this year we had somebody to rebuild our dipoles, and then we have a scheduling issue for Sunday coming up that for the first time that we've like I said, the 25 years that we've been there. So we may end up having to change some things how we operate a little bit this year, but because of the church and everything. But yeah, basically the big thing is trying to decide what presentation. We always try to do a educational presentation. So that's trying to figure out who's going to do that, and then also we have to issue the media and the invitation to the elected officials and that sort of thing, ahead of time to get them to come out, that sort of thing. We usually end up having somebody on Sunday from the media to come out and film us for their around Middle Georgia issue for Sunday night news, that type of thing. But all that, is a form letter that the other club is, they take care of the media part, and so they just send the same thing each time with a different date on it. But yeah, we've been in the same place for so long. Everybody knows their part and knows where things have to go, and we just put it together. Friday afternoon, we do shoot up the ropes with potato guns and get those ropes up on Friday, and then Saturday morning we usually put the antennas up. So
okay, and for us, as far as getting the networks and stuff up, most of the guys that are in the Boone County clubs are in networking and computer type jobs, so that's never an issue. They've got that handled, and antennas. I kind of go out in the field and put up antennas every day of my life. Tristan and Jason, they do like the rally races and stuff like that, so they're used to going out and doing portable setups and stuff like that. So we pretty much don't really do a whole lot of prep. I'm sure each individual, the night before is prepping, making sure, just like you do when you go for a POTA, your POTA checklist or whatever, making sure you got everything you need. But even if you didn't, there's going to be so much stuff. It's quite funny. Funny story is Tristan, who owns Eagle One now. Several summer field days ago, he had a similar antenna to an Eagle One up, and kept trying to get it to work and this, that, and the other. And he wasn't doing crap on. Well, he had some family that was in town and had to go out for dinner. He's like, you can use my station if you can get this stupid antenna to work. I was like, okay, cool. Because I wasn't set up. I had planned on doing the night shift that time. And he left. I played with it for a minute. And I said, forget this. I went over. I threw my Eagle 1 up on the back of my vehicle. And I run it into his little, he pulls this little trailer. It's like a mobile shack. And I run it in there and put it in the back of his radio. And he comes back and he's like, oh, you got it working good, don't you? I was like, yeah, sure do. Turning off my Eagle 1 off the back of the car. And now here we are later, and now he owns Eagle 1. So funny stuff. But field day is definitely a whole lot of fun. And, it's a different experience for me. They say, two field days ago, 2 summer field days ago, Bruce, we actually went up on Tick Ridge, and did, that was the year it was so cold and so snowy. It was nice the day before, and the day of, we're driving up there and we're all in 4-wheel drive just to get up the hill. And we did it from up there, and it was like 7 degrees, and none of us had campers. We actually had a pavilion, and we took plastic and went around the whole pavilion and lit a fire in the pavilion, and we operated out of there.
You made a video of that, didn't you?
I believe I did for like the Patreons or something. I didn't put it out for YouTube, but yeah, I did make a video of it, and it was a lot of fun. And but that's the only time we went to I would like to go back there every single time. It's also a POTA entity, so it it was funny because that field day I was not very social, because when it wasn't my time on the radio for field day, I was calling CQ POTA as Kilo Echo Papa Zulu November.
Oops.
So I was constantly on the radio. But it is great, especially here in West Virginia. You get up really high like that, and like I was working 20 meters from up there, and the 20-meter ground wave was just pretty much annihilating all of West Virginia because I was so high. And that's weird, but like I was getting park to parks in West Virginia that I should not be getting on 20 meters, not at all. Mm-hmm. And it was crazy, but good thing. You guys ever do you do different spots, or you said you've all been in the same spot for 20-some years? What about you guys, John?
Was he talking about location, like in that question?
Yeah.
Or okay,
yes.
We're good, probably 1,150 feet above sea level here at Skyview. We're pretty high up, so
nice.
Towers here 70-some feet high. That's my day, and I always beach in them foul ups whenever I'm operating up here. But the other guys, they're on top of a hill too. We're pretty high up, but we were just looking like here, perfect location for the club to get people and like commissioners to come and police officers and that to the club because it's a known place. And the other guy, it's just his property, so we can set up portable stuff and not have to worry about getting in any disputes or trouble with someone else, reserved a pavilion or something like that. But they're both pretty high locations here in Injure Nation, Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
We're kind of, I don't know, about 30 minutes east of Pittsburgh, so we're pretty high up.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, in Central Georgia, we don't really have any real high spots. I mean, you'd have a hill or something, but where we are is nicer. It's nicer than what we could get, by traveling a little ways. With like I said, the lights, the fan. We even have a little lake with a fountain going on at night. So, with the lights changing colors. So, it's really a nice area to have field day. So we don't try to look for a different spot because it's too good for us.
Right. So for like I said, for summer we typically go with the Boone County Club, and they like to use a soccer field. But honestly, most winter field days we do get a sort of high location. Last year we was up on Tomlin Wildlife Management area, which was pretty high. And like I said, we went to Tick Ridge one year. So we typically do that for Winter Field Day. All right. It was not much height to pick from in Indiana. Bruce, you got such a good signal. I don't think you need it. All right. So looks like we are coming up on the end of the stream. Anybody got any questions before we go? And before I let these guys say what they got coming up or anything? I appreciate all the questions tonight, Bruce. It's always nice to have a lot of questions. That makes the streams go by so much better.
Bring in your costume.
Dan wants to know if you're bringing your costume this year to Field Day.
That was not me. I have pictures of me with the wolf. That was not me.
The wolf, that's right. We're going to need a side-by-side picture of you.
Well, I don't think the wolf will come to Summerfield Day. We'll see. I don't know, but we'll see if I don't know.
Always a possibility.
But I would guarantee the wolf makes an appearance at Winterfield Day. And next year, if it does, I will definitely get a side-by-side picture with the wolf. I got blamed for that, even though we shared multiple pictures. Trust me, I wish I had a wolf costume like that because I would be doing podium.
Nice.
I'd probably do a rove. I'd ask for a wolf award rove. So anyway, all right. So Hayden, you ain't talked much. What you got coming up, bud?
Well, I just want to say Field Day is where I discovered POTA. And you know what Parks on the Air's most famous saying is? It's Field Day every day. So I look at, like all of us that do POTA, we should be Field Day experts because we're out there, we're operating portable. I'm going to be operating either a 1B or a 2 Bravo, depending on how many radios I bring out. But I just go out and I help all the stations, the big club stations, make contact. So I'm basically a hunter in Field Day, and I like it.
And if there's somebody that's watching the stream tonight because this is a field day stream, and you don't do POTA already, and you enjoy Field Day, you should really check out Parks on the Air because it really is. It's the same thing. You get to do it every day. And it's great practice for Field Day and for emergency preparations and stuff like that. So you definitely should check out POTA. And if you want to learn about it, subscribe to this channel because we're always talking about it. But go to my Discord. Hayden is getting ready to drop a link.
I've already dropped the link in there
because
I will drop it again.
I promise you, my Discord is where all the cool POTA kids hang out. That's for sure. And there's a lot of cool stuff that happens in there, and it don't just got to be POTA. If you just have any kind of radio question, you can ask it in that Discord, and you're going to get an answer for sure. I'm not going to swear it's the right one, but I know I personally have learned a lot of stuff, especially from my Patreon after chats. I've got together, and matter of fact, Chris taught me something one night in Patreon after chat that really helped me. I don't even remember what it was now, but I remember it really, really helped me, whatever it was. So,
probably the alternate R on the keyboard for N3FJP, probably that recall.
No. It was the because I was having problems with the club call. It wouldn't accept my club call logs.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah, I remember now because I did it for this event, this Lewis and Clark event.
One other thing. Every Wednesday night we have an after chat in Discord. If you want to come check it out, I put a link up. Sign up for Patreon. There's a 7-day free trial. Message me or Dan. We'll get you hooked up, and you can join us in the after chat tonight.
7 days of benefits for free. All right, Chris, what do you got coming up?
Well, it's what we just did was over the weekend we did 7 parks in southeast Georgia, and 3 of them were on islands. And I need a POTA break for a little while, activating. We did 6 parks the beginning of the month, and then 7 this past weekend. So I'm going to take a little rest until 4th of July, not do too much until then. But yeah, we'll be having. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Except for
What?
hunting the POTA King, right?
Yeah, I mean hunting is fine from the house, but I'm talking about
Field day
activating.
next week.
But yeah, and then field day we have have preparation for that, and so yeah, I mean it'll be great. We'll have my club meeting tomorrow night to talk about field day. So hope all the club members that are watching can can join us tomorrow night to talk about field day. So but as far as POTA, there might be a little bit of something happening on the last week of June somewhere in the United States with me. So we'll have to see how that goes. But more on that later.
There we go. And Brent wants to make one of your videos one day, Chris.
Hey, all right, that'll be great. I appreciate that. They're nothing professional, I assure you. They're just trying to collect some memories.
All right, what you got coming up, tall guy? I know you got something coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing multiple state rove there in my travels for work. So I'm going to be in West Virginia, maybe hooking up with POTA King there for an activation. And down in Tennessee, I'm hoping to hook up with Chris, Whiskey Zero Charlie Golf Charlie. So that'll be kind of fun. And hopefully we'll hit a gun store while we're there, Smoky Mountain. But I don't know. I'm going to see a lot of new parks to activate and stuff like that. So I'm actually looking forward to it. I really enjoy POTA. It really brings a smile to my life. So and I met so many awesome people through it. What else could you ask for?
Awesome stuff. And as for me, between now and Sunday, I've got 20 more hours of Whiskey 8 Lima Oscar golf to be doing for the Lewis and Clark Trail. So if you have not got West Virginia, please put Whiskey 8 Lima Oscar golf in your ham alerts and come hunt me. I'm doing digital. I'm doing side, as much as I hate digital, I'm doing it just for this event. Because people like, can you do digital? And I'm like, yeah, I can do digital. I'm not a digital guy. I'm a CW and a sideband guy, but I'm doing it all for you guys. So come if you need West Virginia for the clean sweep. If you're not hearing me, not catching me when I'm on, shoot me a message in Discord, and I will gladly set something up for you, and try to make your contact for you. Other than that, I'm going to the Patreon after chat right after this stream. And tomorrow at 4 o'clock, I will be dropping another video. So thank you guys for watching, and everybody have a great field day. 73.
Hit that like button, 73, everybody.
Thank you for having me.